Now, the Jacques Leglise Trophy has been a breeding ground for European Tour stars. Sergio Garcia, Luke Donald and Jose Maria Olazabal played in the event in their younger days. This year's version between Great Britain and Ireland and continental Europe took place in the UK last weekend.
If you can do that, who cares about the tactics?
That's a fantastic shot by David Howell.
And there's some celebrations out there at 17.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Now, that's the way to win a match.
The future of European golf was on show at the Nottingham Golf Club, contesting the Jacques Leglise Trophy. One keen spectator was a former Walker Cup captain, Peter McAvoy.
It started in 1958. It's a match for under 18-year-olds between Great Britain and Ireland and the continent of Europe. I mean, it started as sort of boys' golf, but if you watch them nowadays, the standard's incredibly high. The bit at the top end of this field, you've got people who, you could stick on a European Tour practice ground and you wouldn't notice the difference. It's the same format as the Walker Cup, which is four foursomes and 8 singles each day, so 24 points, first one to 12.5 points wins. I remember when we used to play the continent of Europe, it was quite an easy match. We'd win quite comfortably without really stretching ourselves. But in fact, it's the pendulum swung completely, and last year they gave the GB&I boys a real hammering.
Since the tournament began, Great Britain and Ireland dominated the early encounters, losing only 3 times before 1995. But the strength of European golf has improved so dramatically since then that it has now become a very, very close contest.
The standard has always been immense, but now the standard it goes down to an enormous depth. What a lot of people don't realise is that boys' golf these days and men's golf is almost the same. There was a time when there was a big bridge to be got over, but now when you look at people like Oliver Fisher, Rory McIlroy, Zach Gould, there are lots of boys in this event now. James Byrne has already played for Scotland men's 6-man team. Paul Cutler's in the Irish men's team. And on the continent side, people like Floris de Vries, I'm still amazed that he's still a boy. I mean, he's been such a fantastic force for the last 2 years.
I think it's a wonderful tournament, and if you picked for the Jacques Leglise Trophy, you really made something, and you know that you're a great golfer and you're one of the best in the country and in Europe.
After an intensive day and a half, GB&I went into the singles only needing 1.5 points for victory. But all was not going to plan, and halfway through the day, the scoreboard was looking mostly red. But all was not lost. Andrew Johnston performed the comeback of the week, coming from 4 down after 5 holes to win 2 up. This left GB&I only needing half a point to win, and that was safely secured by Michael Stewart. GB&I eventually won by 13.5 points to 10.5, and it was a hard one for the Europeans to take, leaving playing captain Jack Leglise with the trophy.
Jack, very well done.
Thank you very
Fully
much.
deserved.
Thank
Congratulations.
You. Thanks.
Well done, Jack.
Yeah, it's a great competition, and Mark, I know you've played in it. We talk about the sort of contrast between our amateur system and the US amateur system, which is chiefly college golf. But in a sense, you could talk our one up because we get a lot of practice in team play. That's another great team competition for future stars to get a feel of what it's like to be part of a whole, to play another mass of people from a different continent, and it's, I think, a wonderful thing, and we're lucky in our amateur game to have these sort of things around.
I think it's changed, Rob. You know, since we were amateurs, I think it's almost, these young lads now are almost professional amateurs. They're playing a lot of golf, and you know, the infrastructure that's there to help them with the coaching, and certainly with the fitness, the diet, everything is there for them now, and you can clearly see from the performances there, as Peter McAvoy so rightly said, some of these young kids now are just exceptional at such a young age. And you know, I remember playing in the Jacques Leglise trophy there, and what a thrill it was to put on that sweater with the Great Britain and Ireland lion on there. And ironically enough, it was 1979 that I played in that, and I think that was the year that Di Stewart might have been born.
No,
I feel really old now.
Yeah, actually, you're a lot older than me, aren't you? Moving on swiftly, Dennis, would you agree with that? How important is it that these competitions are organised so that the players actually feel the pressure of a competitive environment?
Yeah, the idea is that they can get to play for their continent, if you like, although we are part of that continent. But you know, the feeling for the players is immense. It's about handling pressure, team pressure, so it's great for the Seve Trophy as well. You know, that's the level of, you know, they'll be moving on to, if you like, and then they get on to Ryder Cups and play the sort of the really tough one against the USA. So I think for the youngster it's great. It sets their ambitions high as well. They start to believe that they perhaps can do it. If they make that team, they start to believe there's a future for them in golf, and for some of them there will be.
Contrast the standard then, Mark, with the players of the current crop to the players when you were in this Jacques Leglise trophy.
Well, ironically enough, Rob, the year I played, 1979, at Formby, the four Englishmen in the team, English boys in the team, there was Paul Way, there was Michael McLean, myself and David Curry. All four went on to the European Tour, and three of the four actually went on to win tournaments. So, you know, at that level, at that elite sort of group of junior golfers, these guys are really the very top of the youngsters in the game, and I think they can all expect very bright futures.
Well, if we look at some of these names, it really does reflect the strength of the event. Wouldn't you agree, Dennis? The likes of Luke Donald and David Howland. We have our very own Mark Rowe. Should Mark be on that list?
Well, no, we're running a competition on Golf Night. Spot the odd man out. So send your emails in to Golf Night, skysports.com.
I mean, you've got to look at Luke Donald as well as Mark Rowe, of course, but you've got to look at Luke Donald and David Howland at Ryder Cup places. Paul Casey, they're playing. You know, they give you some tough times. 3 tournaments on the European tours.
It's the first time, Dennis, that I've actually made a list with those guys' names. I'm so proud of that.
But 3 of the team there, that the Europeans from the Great Britain, I should say, side, not the English side. Then the Europeans, they've got Garcia and Olasabal, and there'll be many more coming through who we've yet not to hear of, but they'll be the stars of tomorrow, quite literally.
Oh, Mark, you definitely deserve to be on that list. Players who've hit the big time. Stay right here on Golf Night. A lot more ahead.